Yarn Curator Podcast. This is episode 2. Excited to be coming to you guys with a more, traditional show and tell podcast form. Sitting down this afternoon, found a few minutes, so I thought I would take some time to share with you guys out there what I've been making, what I've been working on, as well as a couple things I've finished recently. I finished them a couple weeks ago, but as this is a new podcast, I thought I'd go ahead and talk about them here, because it hasn't been that long ago since I finished them. So yeah, I guess we'll get started with this is so awkward. We do have some tea here. I was going to talk a little bit about the mug. I have a vintage mug here that I'm drinking some tea out of, that I got at a little tea shop in Edinburgh. It's absolutely delicious. I've been slowly savoring it and working through it as a little bit of a treat. But the mug itself is the same design of coffee mugs that used to be in my grandmother's house, and my sister actually inherited the actual set of mugs when my grandmother passed away. We both loved these mugs. So Zoe got the set, and then she actually found these, I think in a local thrift store, and there are 4 or 5 of them that she found, and so she mailed them down to me, and then we actually traded one of the same pattern. I gave her one of the replicas, and she gave me one of my grandmother's. And it's somewhere around here. I have it stuck aside with some needles and whatnot in it. And so that one's my special little memento. So yeah. But I'm drinking some delicious tea from a store called Curator, which was on Princess Street. It's whatever the inspiration for Diagon Alley is over there in Edinburgh. It's absolutely delicious. So yeah, I've been slowly working through it. But now that I've gone down a random tangent, we can get into WIPs, spinning, FOs. I guess it's my show. I get to choose what I want to do with it. So I'll start with some FOs that I've finished here recently. So in the most recent video I published, I went down to Sarasota to a place called A Good Yarn, and when I went down there on my little adventure, I wore my Merino motif. I had just finished it, and so I was super excited to wear it. I've worn it a few times to work, so here it is in all of its finished glory. So I knit this out of a few different fibers. So the top gray color here is Anzula and their Milky Way yarn, and it is an interesting fiber to work with. It's actually made out of milk protein fibers, and so I think it was an 80-20 blend of the milk protein and then 20% superwash merino. So I was interested to see how it would behave, whether it was going to be more drapey, would it have a lot of memory, and I bought it because when I bought it, reading the description, it said the milk protein was supposed to be really breathable and moisture wicking, which was super appealing to me. Like I said, I'm down here in Florida, it's hot, so anytime I can get mileage out of a hand knit, kind of outside the 3 months of fall that we have here, which is really in the winter, I was excited for that. So it's in this really pretty, cool, inky gray, kind of the line between black and gray. I didn't alternate skeins, and in hindsight I probably should have, because the second one that I joined in pulled a lot more than the first one. The first one was really even in color. You can see that down here. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and then it started to pull up towards the top. And I ripped out the top a couple of times and tried to join it so it wouldn't be so bad. Like you can see it up here. It's a lot more stripey. So I kind of reset my ball, alternated skeins, and then tried breaking the yarn and joining it in a few different places to take out some of the more silvery gray parts, which it did work, but it was still actually driving me crazy. So I took a Sharpie to my swatch, and I was like, if I just do this really gently on here, how does it turn out? So I actually ended up taking some Sharpie to some really bad spots that were pulling, and you can't tell too much, and I think I might go back and do it somewhere up here because that actually is driving me a little bit nuts. So yeah, that is the gray yarn, and then down here in the color work bits, this is some leftover Knox Yarn Co. in the Luna colorway that I had left over from when I did my exploration station shawl. I don't think I have a leftover ball here with me. And it's this really pretty blue, variegated blue with speckles of neon yellow and kind of periwinkle and orange, and I absolutely love it. And then the third color, which you can just barely see, this gray right in here, is Felicity Yarn Studio, and that was left over from a Sunset Highway I had made for my mom. My sister made a custom dyed yarn for her, and then I knit her up her own Sunset Highway that we could wear to EYF together. So yeah, it's a really interesting pattern. It's knit from the bottom up, so you start down here with this feather and fan lace section, and then up, and then you divide the front and back, and you knit those, and then you pick up the sleeves and your collar. I was really scared when I finished it and I tried it on, and it was like a crop top to like right here. I was like, oh my god, did I not knit it long enough? Did I not make the big enough size? Like, kind of had a moment of panic, and I was like, well, let me see how it blocks, and then we'll go from there. And overall, this really grew with blocking. I only have a couple complaints and a couple frustrations with it. So one of those is, and this is not a fault of the pattern, this is me and my own stupidity when it comes to knitting. So typically on garments, when I do a bind off, I do the super stretchy bind off, but sometimes it has a tendency to flare, and so lately, particularly on my sleeves, instead of doing the super stretchy bind off, I've been going up. So this was knit on 2s, the ribbing, so I went up to a size 6 needle and did the bind off, and that should give enough space to where I can still get my appendages through. However, if you can see here, there's not that much give, and same for around the collar. That is pretty tight, and so when I wear it until I get it kind of adjusted on perfectly, the sleeves are pulled too long, and I feel like I'm getting choked around the throat, or to get it to fit comfortably around my neck, which is the main concern. Instead of hitting here where they're supposed to, my sleeves actually kind of end up bunching up like this. So what I think I'm going to do is just rip out the bind offs and do a stretchy bind off. I might lose 1 or 2 rows of the rib, or God forbid I have to join in my leftover yarn into the ball. But I do think I'm going to redo those because it's not as comfortable as I'd like it to be. But that's through no fault of the pattern. You know, or Caitlin Hunter, who's the designer of this pattern. So kind of finished, but not really. And then this is my one of frustrations, and once again, this is something that's completely on me, and not the pattern. When I cast it on, I did my cast on pretty tight because I was worried about running out of yarn on the long tail cast on that I was doing, and I had already tried casting it on probably 3 or 4 times, and ran out of yarn. Did it again, ran out of yarn, did it again, ran out of yarn. So in this one, I was like, gonna get it this time, and I was so close to running out of yarn, but I really tightened up that cast on. But the problem is now with the feather and fan, which kind of makes this wavy detail at the bottom, it has a tendency to curl up. And so when I'm wearing it, it doesn't always lay flat. And so if I were to do this again, or if you're to make your own, make sure you give yourself enough room for that long tail cast on, and then yeah, don't do it too tightly, otherwise this is going to lay a little wonky down there. So yeah, that's my Mary motif by Caitlin Hunter. As I said before, it was knit. The ribbing was size 2, the body and the lace I did on size 3 or 4s. I think it was on size 3s. Could have been 4s. And some Anzula, Knox Yarn Co. and Felicity Yarn Studio. So I'm quite pleased with it. It's really wearable, and that milk protein fiber is really breathable and nice. So that's been a pleasant surprise. And I will say that Anzula was really expensive. I think it regularly retails for about $40 a skein, so it's not cheap. I actually caught it on Wool Watcher through Jimmy Bean's Wool. I got it on sale for like $20. Otherwise I never would have bought it at that price point. So yeah, that's FO number 1. And then FO number 2 I'm really excited about. This is my finished Elton. And I haven't been able to wear it very much, although I could wear it to work as a cardigan, because the AC is always freezing inside my office. They keep it at like 70, so it gets really cold, because I'll go to work wearing something like this for popping out in the park, and it gets really cold. So I actually keep my Marled Magic shawl at my desk, and I'm always wrapping up in it at work. So this is my finished Elton, which is a cardigan pattern by Locatelli, and this is knit out of Bien Aimee, and it's a combination of deep stash and then UIF yarn. So the main color yarn, which is this pinky taupey speckled sock yarn, which is absolutely gorgeous, is in the, I think it's Amy's Birthday Cake colorway. I have it all stored on my Ravelry, which is House of Cardigans. It's my Ravelry handle, and this is yarn that I picked up during the Bay Area yarn crawl 2 years ago. So I went to a local yarn shop called Four Pearls. It's located in Winter Haven, Florida, and they happened to get a shipment of LBA for a trunk show they were going to do, and the owner came and she brought out some skeins for us, because it was actually wasn't supposed to be part of the crawl, but I saw someone else knitting in the shop, and I was like, oh my god, where'd you get Bien Aimee? You know, that's like one of my unicorn yarns at that point in time, and that's when the yarn shop owner kind of came and brought it out and showed me. So I picked up 2 skeins of this there, and it's been sitting in my stash waiting for the perfect project, because if it's a unicorn skein, it has to go with a unicorn pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous. It goes between this kind of ballerina slipper pink, and then it's got speckles of deep purple and blues, and some brighter pinks, so it's gorgeous. So I picked that up, and then I've been sitting on it and sitting on it and sitting on it, and so when I was prepping for UIF, I knew I wanted to buy some more LBA while it was over there, but I didn't know what, and I didn't know what for, and then I kind of got fixated on the Elton pattern, and I thought, okay, well, I'll shop for some mohair over there to go with it. And originally I was thinking I would make the Elton with the other 2 skeins I picked up of LBA at this yarn shop, in the Life Aquatic colorway, which is a really pretty bright aqua, with similar specs of purples and blues and things along those lines. But they didn't have any of this particular colorway that the main color is knit out of, or the Life Aquatic on mohair when I was there at the show. But what I did find was this really lovely soft pink tonal, which is, I don't know if you guys can see how well that's coming through on here. It's coming up more beige, in the Marjorie colorway. So I picked that up and knew I wanted to make an Elton, and so when I got back home I thought, this was the first thing I cast on, and so I went ahead and grabbed it, kind of jumped on it, so I absolutely love it. It's a really interesting construction. It's a boxy style cardigan, and so it fits great, and I can kind of put it on for y'all. So the original pattern calls for about 12 inches of turn on the AC with this on. It calls for about 12 inches of positive ease, and I just personally like garments that fit a little bit closer than that. So I went down to about 0 ease for it. I think I ended up knitting the size medium. I am not a medium girl. So I kind of wish there was something that was in between the size I have now and the size up, which would have been kind of just too large. But otherwise, it's lovely. It fits great. I have worn it to work a few times, and I really like it. So yeah, and it encourages me to lose a little bit of weight as well. So it'll fit better. I do have to say, for the size that I knit, it is a little tight around the arms, which with blocking, that's okay. It's just a really tight fitting sleeve. And I do think I picked up stitches around the edge for the next size up, and I could even stand to go up a size from there. But otherwise I really like it. It's great. I'll see how long I can leave it on without getting too hot. So yeah, that's it for my FOs, but I'm really excited about them. I'm really excited to show them off. And yeah, I think this is going to be a great staple for work. It's nice, it's light, and it looks professional. You know, the finishing isn't bad at all. I do have to say, knitting this was definitely a product knit for me. It was not a process knit in the slightest, and it was a slog. It was a lot to get through. It was a lot of purling, knitting the mohair, knitting the mohair by itself, not held with something else, was not very enjoyable. But I absolutely love the finished product. I actually want to make another one, but modify it so it's the pullover version. So without giving away too much of the pattern, you kind of knit the back, and then you knit the two sides of the front, and then you do those, and then you join underneath the sleeves and knit the body in one piece down from there. I think I would do that, and then just join for in the round, so it'd be more like a v-neck. And I would probably go up the size for a pullover, because that I don't mind a little bit baggier, but for cardigans I like them to sit a little bit closer to my body, and I typically don't button them because boobs and buttons are not a good combination, and it usually doesn't end up looking, so I usually leave them open and just kind of sitting around open on me. So I'm probably not even going to put buttons on this, one, because I can't be bothered, and two, because I'm never going to button it anyways. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, maybe a future Elton, and if I knit it in the round, then I won't feel like miles and miles of purling. So that's it for, oh no, I guess this counts as an FO. It's a spinning FO. So this is some of the John Arbon fiber that I talked about a couple episodes back. So it is plied together. This is fiber that I picked up at EYF from the John Arbon booth, and it's what inspired me to get the mill membership. And so it's plied. I let the plied yarn sit on the bobbin for a little bit, and before I finally wound it off and into a skein. I haven't snapped or soaked it yet, but it seems like a really well balanced yarn. There's not too much kinking or coiling in it. So do a nice little close up there. So yeah, it's really lovely. It's so soft and silky. It's so nice. And it's just this gorgeous combination of like a steely silver, gray, black charcoal mixed in with this really pretty blue borderline purple color, and I absolutely love it. So what I think I'm going to do is save this for the other hand spun, plied together, finished hand spun, that I'm going to talk about in a second. That's also John Arbon, and I'm thinking of either using these. Well, I'll go ahead and show it to you. So this is the other one. It's still on the bobbin. I'm just letting the ply rest on there before I pull it off. I'm really learning patience with spinning. It's something I'm really working on, and I'm finding that when you just let the stuff sit on the bobbin or sit on the wheel, like, you know, like your single plies before you ply them together. I used to just give them a day, and then I would be so excited to get the finished yarn that I would just ply it instantly. But I'm learning if you let the singles sit on there for a little bit longer, granted these sat for a long time before I plied them together, you really do get better results. So yeah, I'm really working on patience with spinning. But I'm thinking of using these two together in something, maybe a pair of socks, maybe a shawl. I'm not quite sure. There's not too much contrast, so I don't know if a color pattern would necessarily be great, but maybe a sock with contrasting heel toes and cuffs, and then doing the reverse. So maybe two pairs. I don't remember what the yardage is that I got off of this, but that's on my Ravelry page as well. I updated it, and then I need to make a little tag and card with all the information about this. So this is a blend of Corriedale, alpaca, and silk, I'm pretty sure. And I don't actually quite remember what the fiber content for this is, because it was on the sign at the booth when I got it, and I remember thinking like, oh, I can just go look that up online, and I'll be able to pull it off, the colorway and everything, because it was with his cocktails yarn. I don't think this fiber actually is one of the cocktails blend. I think it was just sitting next to the cocktails yarn, and so I'm pretty sure I found what it is on their website, and I'm pretty sure it's the Corriedale, alpaca, and silk blend, and it's somewhere between a fingering and a DK weight. I did it with I spun it using a short draw method. That's just usually what I end up defaulting to. I try and do long draw, and it doesn't feel comfortable to me. It's not what works for me. If any of you have tips for trying long draw, feel free to drop them down in the comments below. I'm happy to hear, and here you can see right here some of that gorgeous blue fiber. No, that didn't make it better. And so yeah, I spun really thin singles normally, where last year I was default spinning kind of between a DK and a sport weight, but I was doing more woolen spuns, so more air was getting trapped, so when you knit up, it was knitting up closer to like a worsted, technically engaged. So this, I tried to do a really good worsted spin, and so I think it'll be good for socks. I want to say I got about 250 yards out of this, give or take. And my mind just went blank. 250 yards. It's about a fingering to DK. had something else to say with it. It's gone. Has that ever happened to you? But I absolutely love it. So this is John Arbon in the Midnight something or another. I'll put it in the show notes in the description down below, and I'll link to his page as well. So that's one finished skein, and then this is the Cocktails yarn, and this is in oh man, the White Russian colorway. I was gonna call it the Dude, but it's White Russian, and I associate those with the Big Lebowski. And actually, oh, I remember what I was gonna tell you. This is 4 ounces of fiber, 250 yards, fingering to DK weight yarn. Same for this. This is 4 ounces of fiber in the White Russian colorway from the Cocktails, and I remember that because when I purchased this at UIF, John wound it off for me, Mr. Arbon himself, and we ended up talking about the Big Lebowski, so that's why I wanted to call this the Dude, but it is not the Dude, and so it's still in my bobbin. I'm going to venture to say, once again, pretty similar in thickness. This is not the best section to be showing you towards the end of the skein. I never really like the way that looks. Let's get a little bit more in here. So it's probably about a fingering to DK weight as well. Really nice. I think this one's going to be pretty evenly balanced as well once I skein it up. And it's this really pretty, not taupe. What's the word I'm looking for to describe a color? Maybe it is taupe. Kind of a taupey gray. Oh man, Zoe and I were just describing this color the other day. I actually Googled it to make sure I was right on what this color was, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Like a grayish brown. So it's really pretty. Really pleased with this spin. Really liked the way this fiber spun up. Really tickled that I was able to do such fine singles when I was spinning it. And so I'm really excited for this. And like I said, I think I might try and figure out, I think I might do socks or maybe some kind of house sock for just wearing around here around the house. Unless maybe I'll actually knit something for my husband, and it'll be his lucky day. So that's it for FOs, and I've been spinning those as part of Tour de Fleece. So I guess I've joined a team. I joined team Babbling Pearls. So spinning with the folks from the Babel's Traveling Yarn podcast, which is Grace, and then as well as So Perfect Pearls, and I don't know why her name is escaping me at the moment, but yeah, so I'll say I'm loosely participating. Life has been really crazy lately. I haven't had that much time to finish spinning, but for their spin along with Tour de Fleece, you have to set some goals. So my goals were to be patient with my spinning, to ply together and finish this John Arbon that's just been sitting on the bobbins for far too long, and then to finish spinning the first braid that I started, which I'll talk to you here, and then finish the second sister braid to this. So this is what I've been working on with Tour de Fleece. So this is 4 ounces of fiber, and it is an 80-10-10 blend of targi, silk, and bamboo. So it's been a really fun spin. It's super silky. It drafts like a dream. And I'm really I want to be able to make something out of a fingering weight yarn with this. So I mean, I have just been spinning as thin as I can possibly manage. know if you guys will be able to see this, but I mean, it is just, I mean, it's stupid skinny for me for spinning, so I'm really excited about that. And the way I spun this, the way the braid, which I showed on my first podcast, I spun as I came to the box of color. I tried to spin back and forth across the roving, maintaining as much of the color as I could before going to the next section. So on this, it's actually just showing those little light hints of tealy, minty, aqua, and purple, but there's actually some white sections as in here as well. This braid was not as heavily dyed as the other braid that's on my wheel right now, but I think it's going to be a gorgeous self-striping, hopefully fingering to DK weight, and I want to make some socks out of it. So it'll be an 8 ounce. It'll be 8 ounces when I'm done spinning it, when it's plied together, for a 2-ply fingering weight is what I'm going for. And really it's probably going to end up getting broken into 2 or 3 skeins because I don't have a jumbo bulky flyer or orifice for my wheel. I'm just working with what I got, which is the standard sizes. So I anticipate I might be able to get it all on one bobbin, but I anticipate having to break it into two spins at least, because I have overloaded my bobbin in the past. It never ends well, and I'm trying to learn my lesson with that one as well. But yeah, I'm really delighted with this, and I believe the fiber is from Gail's Fiber Studio. It's something that my sister picked up for me at SAF last year, and I'm just now getting ready to spin. I kind of savor my spinning and sitting down at my wheel because I don't have a huge fiber stash, and that's partly intentional, and partly for budgetary reasons, because I feel like with spinning the process happens so much faster than with knitting that it's very easy to spend a lot on fiber and spin it quickly. Whereas with knitting, you're really spending hours upon hours upon hours crafting a garment or a shawl. And I guess with the hand spun, the next logical progression is that you then go and make something out of the hand spun. But in terms of actual time spent sitting at the wheel, I feel like it's just a much quicker craft, and therefore is much easier to get out of control in terms of building a stash, and then you're just going to be busting out the wazoo with all this hand spun, and so for me it's a balance. It's a balance between having a modest size, small to modest size fiber stash, and then working through it and balancing with other makes and hobbies and life in general. So yeah, this is part of my Tour de Fleece spin. I have started spinning the second braid up, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Blueprint, which was formerly Craftsy, is actually free this week for their birthday, so all their content is available for free online. So I've been slowly watching over the course of the week Felicia Lowe's class on there for spinning color, and so I'm going to do the same spin, but I'm just modifying how I'm spinning it ever so slightly based on her class, and it's been a really interesting thing. And a lot of what she talks about, it's like, oh yeah, I can do that when I spin. I mean, you're master of the yarn you're making at that point. And but just hearing someone say, you can break it here, you can split it here, you can do this, you can do that to create XYZ type of yarn. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I can do that. I don't have to spin in these ways that I've been stuck in a rut. So that's been really good. I actually changed up on the other braid a little bit how I'm creating those color blocks. I don't want to give away too much information in the Blueprint class, since it is paid for content. But I'm just modifying how I'm spinning that fiber ever so slightly. So yeah, it's been great. I'm really pleased with this. My goal for the rest of the tour is to finish that other 4 ounces And since I am spinning it at such a fine single, I imagine it's going to take me a while to do that. This I spun sitting down at the wheel, probably 3 or 4, good sessions at my wheel. I probably spent about 8 hours in total just spinning this 4 ounces of fiber, I imagine. So yeah, between work and dog sitting and everything else, I'm finding it hard to find time to fit it all in, but it's a hobby. C'est la vie. So yeah, that's it for my spinning, aside from what's on my wheel. But I can get into some of what I've been working on in terms of making. So I will start off with, I keep a project on my desk while I'm at work, and I work Sunday through Thursday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm usually able to get in some rows on my lunch break at work. So I just keep this at work with me. This is my work socks. They're just the easiest thing to make there, and I can't believe I'm even showing off socks on this podcast because they are my least favorite thing to make, but I'm really enjoying this one. So these are the X Socks pattern. It's a toe-up sock, and I can't think of the designer's name right now. It's Linnea something, Leoni. I'd have to look at it. I honestly I've seen this pattern floating around on the dyer Artemis Yarns. She's making a pair, and so I was like, what's that pattern name? Went on Ravelry, bought it, and kind of casted it on. So I am knitting this out of Felicity Yarn Studio, which is my sister's indie dyed yarn business. Once again, I'm knitting this out of some leftover yarn from my mom's Sunset Highway. I'm really trying to work through a lot of the bits and bobs and scraps in my stash. But it's got this lovely slip stitch detail that you can see, and I mean, you can see where I've made a mistake. But I'm really enjoying this pattern. I cast it on last Sunday. I actually brought it home from work with me, put a few hours into it, and then I picked it up at lunch the other day. I just started increasing for the gusset, so I made my little stitch marker there for when I make my other sock, and I'm knitting this on size 2 Addy Turbos using Magic Loop. I have found Magic Loop has made making socks much more enjoyable, so yeah, I imagine I'm going to hit the heel soon, and then I've never knit toe-up socks before, so it's been interesting and engaging from that perspective as well. Just pick up my yarn ball so you guys can see, and it's in this lovely purple color. It's got some nice black speckles in it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. Like I said, I try and kind of scarf my lunch down, and then I try and get the rows in while I can on my lunch break. So yeah, don't have anything bad to say about this pattern. It's pretty well written. There's been a few parts where I kind of have to sit and go, wait, what? But other than that, after you just sit and think about it, it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I found after a couple times the slip stitch pattern was pretty easy to memorize, so yeah, I'm enjoying that. It's going to go back to work with me and just live on my desk for work. And then this is just living in a little project bag. I got this from a fiber share partner years ago, and she was located in Denmark, and this was part of my fiber share package. I'm not sure if it's one that she made or bought. There's no maker's mark or anything, but I love my little Kissin' Kids. So, and it's perfect. It's the perfect size for throwing in my purse and work and all that stuff. So, in other news, I also have in my fringe bag is a shawl I'm making for my childhood best friend who's getting married in November. I'm in her wedding, and she asked me as my wedding present if I would knit a shawl for her to wear for her wedding, to which I said, yeah, of course. And so this is going to be my wedding present to her. Her bridal colors, or the wedding colors are like a deep plum purple. I'm not sure what the other color is, but I know I have to get a plum dress before the wedding. So this is going to be the theme of this episode, and it's by and large because most of my stash is from EYF. I sold a lot of stuff that I knew I wasn't going to make from that trip, and then I bought yarn with projects in mind while on that trip. So if you guys are tired, sick of me talking about it, I am too. Not really, but yeah, you know. So this is the Waiting for Rain shawl by Sylvia McFadden? Sylvia something. I feel bad for all the podcasters I've ever judged who can't remember stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just going to throw that down there and I'll talk about it then. But this is Waiting for Rain. I'm sure you guys have seen it on Ravelry. So I just started it last weekend. And I have finally increased to where to do the first lace insert. And I hit this point in the pattern pretty late in the evening, one evening after work, and it was really close to bedtime, and I thought, you know what, it's 9:45. I'm not going to start lace at 9:45 at night. So I've set it down and I haven't picked it back up, but maybe I'll put some rows in today when I have the brain space to read the charts in the written lace and, you know, kind of get a feel for it. So the way this pattern works, it's a crescent shaped shawl. You increase along the top here so it gets wider end to end, and then you add the depth, and then it's a really clever pattern. She has these in here lace inserts, and they're worked using short rows back and forth, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I showed Amelia a version of this, and she was like, oh, you know, kind of latched onto this one when we were going through different designs, and I personally was like, whew, it's less lace. I really didn't want to knit an all over lace shawl. That's a lot of work, you guys, and I love my bestie, but that's a lot of work for a lace shawl that I'm not going to keep for myself personally, and I'm happy to do the knit for her, but you know. So the yarn I'm using for this is from Ysolda, or I bought it at the Ysolda booth, and I believe it's Ysolda yarn as well. In the Calypso base. So here's just the label for it. And this is 5545 BFL silk blend, and it's absolutely delicious yarn. It's super soft. It's got a lovely handle, lovely drape, and a really nice sheen. So I think it's going to look really nice. So I got it in this lovely plum color, and it's ever so variegated between like a deep royal purple, plum, and a little bit lighter from there. And then for the lace, I'm doing it in this lighter kind of lavendery pink. So those will just pop, and I think that'll look really nice with her dress. So I am doing this in the two colors are Wilhelmina and Phyllis. And I'm pretty sure, well, I don't remember which is Phyllis, but I think this is Wilhelmina, and I think the dark purple is Phyllis, but I could be wrong. I have them listed on my Ravelry. I have them queued in my stash. So that's been a really enjoyable knit. I think I'm going to try and put some more rows into it. I want to try and get it done before her bachelorette party, which is in September. So trying to get it done before then, that way I can gift it to her at her bachelorette party. And then if she needs it for any engagement photos or, you know, anything along those lines, she'll have it. So it's a really fun, sweet knit. I'm trying to think about her and her new life. She's going to start with her husband coming up here in November. So yeah, that'll be a good in there. Oh, and I forgot to say, everything I'm knitting I do by and large on Chiagoos. I have an interchangeable set. That one's being knit on size 6, which is what the pattern calls for. I didn't really swatch. I'm not too worried about it for a shawl. For garments, I definitely would swatch, but so yeah. So next up, living in an old toiletry bag that used to belong to my grandma. I told you I don't have that many project bags. Is my Soldotna crop top. So this one I am knitting out of yarns custom dyed for me by my sister. It's in a 50-50 cotton wool blend. And so I am just finishing up the color work yoke section now, and then I'll divide for the body and the sleeves. Just arrange this on the needles. So yeah, this is my Soldotna. It's showing up really lovely on camera. So I actually texted my sister a picture of like a plushy blanket that I have, and I was like, can you just dye this color scheme, which was a really dark blue and then some kind of variations of tealy blues with peach. So this is showing up really nice on camera. And so she is making and selling kits, Felicity Yarn Studio. This is the Beachcomber kit, and I told her I would take some pictures of the beach when it gets done. So yeah, I just finished up this little arrow section. I'm going through some of the increases here, and then you do kind of that like cathedral looking pattern to me. I don't know, it reminds me of Gothic arches. And so I'll do that, and then you'll divide for the sleeves and then knit the body from there. So this is going pretty fast. I don't know what it is about this pattern, or maybe just being out of practice with color work, but I find myself like tinking every row. So I've kind of been getting frustrated with that. And yeah, so it's going, but I know once I hit the body it'll be smooth sailing. Probably gonna knit it a little bit longer than the pattern calls for, because designers never account for boobs and things riding up because they have to go over the boobs. So like, I know for me, if I finished after like the 7 inches, it would probably hit like right here, and my natural waist is closer to down here. But even still, I'm probably going to knit it to right about here on me, because that's just more comfortable, and I'm more comfortable in my own skin. So I've been debating, I really want a linen dress to wear with this to make it more wearable here in Florida, because I have a feeling, since this is DK weight and you have all this color work going across your chest with the strands and everything, it's probably going to be pretty warm. And so I want to get 100% linen fabric and sew my own dress, and I've never sewn my own dress before, so I'm kind of nervous about it. But I have a sewing machine, I have a serger that was gifted to me by my mother-in-law, and it's like, all right, rip the band-aid off and go for it, make a muslin first, and then actually, you know, draft a pattern. So I found a dress that I liked on Fancy Tiger's website, which I'll link to down below. If I can figure out how to put a picture in on one of the sides here, I'll do that. So I'm thinking about ordering that dress. I can't think of the name of it right now. And taking the plunge and trying that. And I really like the dress pattern that I found, because you can knit it as a dress, sew it as a dress a couple different ways, and then you can also just make it as a skirt or just make it as a blouse. So you get like 3 patterns in one. If you have no clue how to read a sewing pattern, we'll figure it out. And then last but not least, for works in progress, I have been swatching in a cast on last night for my Novelli project. So if you'll remember last week, this is the Holst yarn that I ordered and talked about. in my good yarn video. So I did a little swatch to see how I like the colors together. So this is the swatch, and I can show you the WIP if you want, but it's really nothing exciting. Ultimately, I decided to knit it using this lavender color, the charcoal, and this lighter wisteria color here, as opposed to the dark purple. I really like them together visually, and I like the darker contrast you get from the slightly darker gray, but these both kind of have a tweedy look to them, the two purples, as does this charcoal colored gray, so I thought bringing in that kind of overall tweedy effect would be really nice. Let me see if I can fold this in a way so you guys can see that together. So yeah, that's what the palette's gonna look like. So last night, when I wasn't really feeling any of my WIPs, I went ahead and cast it on. So this is living in a little gift bag from Target. I picked up around Christmas a couple of years ago, and it's kind of the perfect sweater sack size for a sweater sack. So for $3, I can't complain. So yeah, this is all I've done so far. I joined it in the round last night, and just doing ribbing. I can already tell. So the yarn for this is a little light in terms of thickness. It's a pretty light fingering, and so I can already tell it's gonna be kind of painful knitting such a light yarn, so many stitches in the round. But I swatched, and I thought my swatch was turning out a little bit small, but the yarn actually, it bloomed a little bit, not as much as I was anticipating, but it did bloom a little and it grew, and so I got engaged with that. So I went ahead and cast on in, I think, the size 5. So we'll see. Normally I knit, with Caitlin Hunter patterns, I actually go down a size from what the pattern would call for me. Cause like I said, I like a little less positive ease than her garments call for, but for this one, especially after knitting Marettimo and wanting a little more ease in that, I decided to go up a size higher than I normally would. So it did bloom some. I did get some swatch. As you can see, it's kind of see-through, so, which is fine. I always wear like a dress or something underneath these anyways. But the fabric itself is really nice. It's really soft. It drapes really nicely, so I'm really excited to get working on this. So yeah, that's my novelli, and that's kind of it for WIPs and FOs and FOs and all that good stuff. In other life news, haven't got too much done the last week or so. John and I were dog sitting my cousin's dog, and he really liked to chew on wool, so I didn't get as much spinning in or as much knitting in, because it was like, oh my god, is Toby gonna try and chew that? And inevitably Toby did try and chew that. So we returned him to my cousin and his family last weekend, and I've been able to really sink my teeth into more stuff. And then next week, my coworker is going out of town, and I told her I'd watch her dog. But this one seems much more mellow than a 1-year-old beagle. And so yeah. And then got my hair cut the other day, and it's really nice and light for summer, and my curls are just absolutely loving being less weighed down. So that's why I keep playing with it. I just got it cut yesterday, and so I'm just getting used to it. And yeah, other than that, just continuing to attack the weeds that I always seem to talk about in our yard. And yeah, got some trips planned in the future coming up to North Carolina. John and I were actually supposed to be in New York this week, but we decided to postpone that vacation probably for next summer, after he got hurt at work last month. So other than that, yeah, life is just plugging along. one knit at a time, but I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you so much for joining in today, you guys. Absolutely love having you here. Feel free to like and subscribe. If you want to connect with me on Instagram, I am the Yarn Curator over there, as well as House of Cardigans on Ravelry. I would change my username there, but I've done it so many times I can't anymore. But yeah, if you want to see what I'm knitting, feel free to check out my Ravelry page. If you just want to see some life in general, feel free to pop over to my Instagram, and I'm just where I'm most active. And yeah, thanks for watching, and have a great day.